She's gone. The nurse whispered urgently. Sir, your wife signed out. She left the building. And she didn't take the baby. Before we dive into this story, I need to know something. If someone you loved disappeared when you needed them most, would you chase them or learn to survive without them? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. And if you've ever felt like love was worth fighting for, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you'll want to hear how this ends. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and burnt coffee. Evan Brooks sat alone in a stiff plastic chair, knees bouncing, staring at a vending machine that had eaten his dollar. It was 3:17 a.m., and the maternity floor was quiet in that strange, suspended way, too calm for something that had just changed a life forever. A bassinet sat beside him. Inside it, a tiny baby slept, swaddled tight, pink-faced, breathing soft and steady. His son. Evan hadn't slept in over 30 hours, but adrenaline kept him upright. He rubbed his palms against his jeans and checked his phone again. No messages. Earlier that night, he'd stepped out to call his boss, explaining he wouldn't be in for a while. When he came back, Lena's bed was empty. He told himself she was grabbing air, getting coffee, talking to a nurse. But minutes turned into an hour, and then came the whisper that cracked everything open. She left. The words didn't register at first. Evan nodded politely, like he hadn't heard right, like this was a misunderstanding that could be cleared up with one more hallway search. But the hallway stayed empty, and the baby kept breathing. 7 years later, Lena Morales, no longer Brooks, sat in traffic outside Phoenix, gripping her steering wheel so tightly her knuckles turned white. The desert sun beat down through the windshield. The radio played softly, some pop song she didn't recognize. She turned it off. Her life was orderly now. Clean lines, predictable routines, a job that paid well, a small apartment with furniture that matched. No surprises. She'd built everything around control. As traffic crawled, her phone buzzed with a reminder. Client meeting, 2 p.m. She exhaled slowly. Lena didn't think about the hospital anymore. Not consciously, not often. She told herself it was survival, that she had been drowning, that staying would have ruined everyone. Some nights, though, she dreamed of fluorescent lights and the sound of a baby crying down a hall she couldn't reach. She never told anyone about that part. At a red light, she caught her reflection in the rearview mirror. Older, sharper, put together, safe. She told herself she was fine. She didn't know that 7 years had been quietly arranging a collision she could no longer outrun. Evan's mornings started early. By 6 a.m., he was already awake, packing lunches and tying shoes in a small house on the edge of a quiet Midwestern town. The walls held kids' drawings, crayon rockets, stick figures holding hands. Dad! Noah called from the kitchen, cereal spoon raised. Can I wear my blue hoodie today? It's 80 degrees, Evan said gently. So? Evan smiled. Fair point. Fatherhood had taught him patience he didn't know he had. Strength too, the kind that didn't announce itself. But some mornings, when the house was quiet again, the old question crept in. Why wasn't I enough to stay for? He never said it out loud. Across the country, Lena scrolled through her phone at 2:14 a.m., staring at a social media post she hadn't meant to find. A photo. A man who looked familiar. A boy standing beside him. Same eyes. Same crooked smile. Her chest tightened. She didn't tap the profile. Didn't zoom in. She locked the phone and set it face down. 3 questions hung between them, unanswered and heavy. Why did she really leave? What kind of man did Evan become without her? And what would happen if their worlds ever crossed again? The invitation arrived in Evan's mailbox on a Tuesday. Plain envelope. No return address. Inside, a folded program. Children's Regional Medical Center, Family Appreciation Day. Evan stared at it for a long moment. Noah's surgery 2 years ago had saved his life. Evan had promised himself he'd show up whenever the hospital asked. He marked the date on the calendar. Across the country, Lena received an email from her firm. We're partnering with Children's Regional Medical Center for an outreach event next month. Attendance is strongly encouraged. Her cursor hovered over the screen. The name pulled something loose in her chest. She told herself it was coincidence. It always was. Evan helped Noah with homework that night, unaware that 7 years of silence were narrowing into a single hallway, a single moment, a single breath. But neither of them knew. The past doesn't stay buried forever. And when it returns, it never comes alone. But neither of them knew. 7 years of running and rebuilding were about to collide in a way neither could control. The hospital lobby hadn't changed much. Same polished floors. Same smell of sanitizer and coffee that had been sitting too long. Same low hum of voices and rolling carts. Evan adjusted Noah's jacket and checked the sign one more time. Family Appreciation Day. Balloons. Face painting. A long table stacked with flyers and clipboards. Noah tugged his hand. Dad, can we see the dogs first? After the speeches, Evan said. Promise. They moved toward the auditorium. Evan didn't know why his chest felt tight. He told himself it was just crowds. Just memories. Hospitals had a way of pulling the past forward whether you wanted it or not. He scanned the room, nodding politely at volunteers, smiling when spoken to. And then he saw her. Lena stood near the back, holding a folder against her chest like a shield. She hadn't planned on staying long. Sign in, shake hands, leave. That was the plan. But the second she stepped inside, the air felt heavier, like walking into a place where something unfinished was waiting. She told herself not to look around. Then she did, and the world tilted. Evan felt it before he understood it. A shift, a sudden awareness, like the room had gone quiet even though it hadn't. He turned. 7 years collapsed into a single second. Lena, older, thinner, familiar in a way that hit harder than any photograph ever could. His breath caught. Noah followed his gaze. Dad. Evan didn't answer right away. Across the room, Lena's eyes locked on his. Then she saw the boy beside him. The color drained from her face. Her knees almost gave out. The room felt too bright, too loud. Applause broke out as someone took the stage, but the sound barely registered. Lena stared. The boy had Evan's eyes, his posture, the way he leaned just slightly forward, curious but cautious. Her chest burned. That's him. The thought landed like a blow. She hadn't imagined this, hadn't prepared for it. She'd built 7 years of distance on the belief that the past stayed still. Didn't. It grew. Evan's first instinct was to leave, turn around, walk out, protect Noah from something he didn't yet understand. But his feet stayed planted. Lena took a small step forward, then stopped. They stood there, separated by rows of chairs and years of silence. Finally, Noah broke it. Dad, he whispered. Why is that lady crying? Lena hadn't realized tears were falling. She wiped her face quickly, embarrassed, exposed. Evan swallowed. I need you to sit with the volunteers for a minute. Okay? I'll be right there. Noah hesitated. You good? Evan managed a nod. Yeah, I am. He wasn't. They met near the side hallway. Neutral ground. No audience. Lena opened her mouth, closed it again. Her voice cracked. She cleared her throat. I didn't know you'd be here. Evan let out a short, humorless breath. Funny. I was thinking the same thing. Silence pressed in. She looked at him fully now. He's yours. Evan corrected gently. That word landed harder than he expected. Lena nodded, unable to speak. I didn't plan this, she said finally. I swear. If I had known. You would have left earlier? Evan asked, not unkindly. She flinched. Probably. Honesty hurt more than excuses. They stood there, two people trying not to drown in the same memory. Around them, life went on. Laughter from the auditorium. The squeak of shoes on tile. A nurse pushing a cart down the hall. Some moments don't ask permission to change everything. They just arrive. If you've ever had a second like that, where your past and present collide and you can't look away, you know how heavy it feels. And if stories like this matter to you, if bearing witness feels important, consider subscribing. Some moments deserve to be seen through all the way to the end. Noah doesn't know, Evan said. Lena's head snapped up. About me. About any of this, he said. He knows his mom left. He doesn't know where you are. Or why. Her shoulders sagged. I don't deserve. Stop, Evan said quietly. This isn't about what you deserve. She searched his face, trying to read the man he'd become. You look steady, she said. He shrugged. Had to be. Another silence. This one felt different. Less sharp. Still heavy. Can I? Lena hesitated. Can I talk to him? Evan didn't answer right away. Every protective instinct in him screamed no. But another part, the tired part, knew this moment couldn't be avoided forever. Not today, he said. He's had enough hospitals for one lifetime. She nodded. Relief and disappointment tangled together. Okay. They stood there, neither ready to walk away. I never stopped thinking about him, Lena said softly. Evan's jaw tightened. Thinking isn't the same as staying. I know. Her voice held no defense. Just truth. A volunteer peeked around the corner. Sir, we're about to start the kids' activities. Evan nodded. We're coming. He turned back to Lena. We should talk. But not here. She nodded again. I'll be in town all week. He hesitated, then handed her a slip of paper. My number hasn't changed. She took it like it might vanish. Their fingers brushed. Both felt it. Evan walked back to Noah, forcing his breath to steady. Everything okay? Noah asked. Yeah, Evan said. Just ran into someone from a long time ago. Noah studied his face. She looked sad. Evan knelt, met his eyes. Sometimes people carry things they don't know how to put down. Noah thought about that, then nodded. Okay. Kids understood more than adults gave them credit for. Across the lobby, Lena watched them, watched Evan listen, watched Noah lean into him without fear. The life she'd left had grown strong without her. That realization hurt more than guilt ever had. She didn't know if there was room for her in it. But she knew one thing for sure. She couldn't run anymore. They had finally come face to face. But the hardest part wasn't the meeting. It was what came next, when denial would tempt them both to pretend this collision never happened. Evan drove home in silence. Noah sat in the back seat, swinging his feet, humming along to a song on the radio. The sky over the freeway was pale orange, the kind of sunset that made everything look calm even when it wasn't. At a red light, Evan caught his reflection in the rearview mirror. His eyes looked older than he felt. He turned the radio down. You tired, Dad? Noah asked. Yeah, Evan said. Long day. That was true. Just not in the way Noah meant. That night, Evan stood in the kitchen long after Noah went to bed. The house was quiet except for the fridge humming and the ticking clock above the sink. Lena's face kept flashing in his mind. Not the version from 7 years ago. Not the woman who'd walked out of the hospital room without looking back. This Lena had looked unsure, shaken, human. Evan gripped the edge of the counter. Doesn't matter, he told himself. It's over. He rinsed the same mug twice before realizing he hadn't even poured coffee. Across town, Lena sat alone in a small rental apartment, still wearing her coat. She hadn't unpacked, hadn't turned on the TV. She sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the wall. The boy's face replayed over and over. His smile, the way he leaned into Evan. She pressed her palms against her eyes, but it didn't help. I didn't know, she whispered to the empty room. But deep down, she knew that wasn't the whole truth. The next morning, Evan tried to return to routine. Breakfast, backpack, shoes by the door. Lunch money? Noah asked. Top pocket, Evan said. Noah checked, grinned. You're the best. Those words usually warmed him. Today they felt heavy. At work, Evan stared at his computer screen while emails piled up. Numbers blurred together. He caught himself checking his phone, then setting it face down like it had burned him. Don't. He didn't want to talk. Didn't want explanations. Didn't want old wounds reopened. He told himself Lena would disappear again. People like her always did. Lena tried to do the same. She filled her days with errands, coffee shops, long walks through unfamiliar neighborhoods, anywhere but stillness. At a grocery store, she paused in the cereal aisle, suddenly overwhelmed by choices. She remembered Evan standing there years ago, joking about how no one actually liked bran flakes. Her chest tightened. She left the cart and walked out. Back in her car, she rested her forehead against the steering wheel. "I can't do this," she said aloud. But she didn't drive away. 2 days passed. Then 3. Evan didn't call. Lena didn't text. Both told themselves it was better this way. Both checked their phones more than they'd admit. On Friday night, Evan sat on the couch while Noah built a Lego tower on the floor. "Dad," Noah said suddenly, "can I ask you something?" Evan stiffened. "Sure." "That lady at the hospital," Noah said. "Did you know her real well?" Evan took a breath. "A long time ago. Is she why you get quiet sometimes?" The question landed softly. Still, it hurt. Evan looked at his son. Really looked. "Noah," he said, choosing his words. "Sometimes grown-ups make choices they don't understand until later. And sometimes those choices hurt people they love." Noah nodded slowly. "Like when I said I hated broccoli, but then I missed it?" Evan almost laughed. "Kind of." Noah returned to his Legos, satisfied. Evan sat there, heart pounding. The cracks were already forming. That night, Evan dreamed of the hospital. White walls, beeping machines, a baby crying somewhere far away. He woke up with his jaw clenched and sheets twisted around his legs. Sleep didn't come back. Lena finally broke on Sunday afternoon. She dialed Evan's number, stared at the screen, then hung up before it rang. She tried again. This time it rang once, twice, then went to voicemail. She didn't leave a message. Her hands shook as she lowered the phone. "I tried," she told herself. It sounded like a lie. On Monday, Evan took a different route to work. He avoided the hospital district completely. Denial wasn't loud. It didn't scream. It whispered, "You're fine. You survived. You don't need answers." But the past didn't listen. That evening, Evan found an old photo while cleaning out a drawer. Him, Lena, a cheap diner booth, pancakes stacked too high. They looked young, hopeful. He stared at it for a long time before sliding it back into the drawer. He didn't throw it away. Lena sat in her car outside Evans Street one night, engine off, lights dark. She watched porch lights flick on one by one. She didn't know which house was his. She didn't get out. Fear felt safer than rejection. By the end of the week, both were exhausted. Not from action, from avoidance. Denial takes energy, costs more than truth. And neither of them could keep paying forever. They tried to pretend life could go back to normal, but denial has a breaking point. And soon, something would force them into the same space with no room left to run. The call came on a Wednesday morning. Evan was halfway through folding laundry when his phone buzzed on the counter. He glanced at the screen and frowned. Unknown number. He almost let it go to voicemail. Almost. "Hello?" he said. "Is this Evan Carter?" A woman asked, professional but gentle. "Yes. This is Mercy General Hospital. Your son, Noah, had a minor accident at school. He's okay, but we'd like you to come in." Evan's chest tightened. "I'm on my way." The drive felt endless. Every red light felt personal. His hands gripped the steering wheel harder than necessary. He kept replaying the nurse's words in his head. "He's okay." Still, fear didn't care about reassurance. When Evan pushed through the hospital doors, the smell hit him first. Clean, sharp, familiar in the worst way. Then he saw her. Lena stood near the nurse's station, arms wrapped around herself, eyes fixed on the floor. Time slowed. For a second, neither of them moved. Evan stopped walking. Lena looked up. Their eyes met. She started, then stopped. "I was listed as emergency contact," she said quietly. "The school still had my number." Evan swallowed. "Where's Noah?" "Room 214, she said. He bumped his head. "They're running tests." He nodded once and walked past her. She followed. Noah sat on the hospital bed, swinging his legs like nothing had happened. A small bandage rested above his eyebrow. "Dad," he said, grinning. "I look kinda cool, right?" Evan let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. "You scared me." "Sorry," Noah said, not sounding sorry at all. Then his eyes shifted. "Hey," he said, pointing. "It's her." Lena froze. Evan closed his eyes for half a second, then opened them. "No more hiding." Noah tilted his head. "Why do you look sad?" Lena stepped closer, slowly, like she was approaching something fragile. "I'm not sad," she said. "I'm just glad you're okay." Noah studied her face with the kind of honesty only kids have. "You look like you know my dad," he said. "I do," Lena replied. "How?" Evan's throat tightened. "We used to be friends," he said. Noah nodded, accepting it easily. "Okay." That was it. No judgment. No anger. Just acceptance. Lena looked away before her eyes gave her away. The doctor came in, then a nurse. Questions were asked. Instructions were given. Concussion protocol. No sports for a week. Keep an eye on him. Normal things. But nothing felt normal. They stood together in the hallway afterward, close enough to feel each other's presence, not close enough to touch. Neither spoke. The silence stretched. Finally, Lena broke it. "I didn't plan this," she said. "I know," Evan replied. Another pause. "I'm glad he's okay. So am I." The words were polite, safe, but everything underneath them wasn't. They ended up in the waiting area while Noah got a final check. Plastic chairs. Daytime TV playing too loud. A vending machine humming in the corner. America at its most ordinary. Evan sat down. Lena hesitated, then took the chair beside him. Neither spoke for a full minute. The quiet wasn't awkward. It was heavy. "I didn't know," she said finally. Evan stared straight ahead. "You've said that." "I mean it," she replied. "If I had known." "You still left," he said, not looking at her. Her breath caught. "I was scared," she said. "I was young. I didn't think I could." "I was scared too," Evan said, cutting in. "And I stayed." That landed. She nodded slowly. "I see that." Another stretch of silence. Outside the window, traffic crawled by. A siren wailed in the distance. Life, uninterrupted. Noah returned with a lollipop and a smile. "Can we get burgers?" he asked. Evan almost said no. Then he saw the way Lena looked at Noah, like she was memorizing him. "Yeah," Evan said. "We can." Noah beamed. "Cool." He hopped down and grabbed Evan's hand. After a beat, he grabbed Lena's too. She stiffened. Then she held on. They went to a small diner down the road. Vinyl booths. Coffee poured too often. The kind of place that didn't care about your past. They slid into a booth together, Noah between them. He talked nonstop about school, his favorite video game, the fact that the nurse had called him brave. Lena laughed softly at the right moments. Evan watched her do it. She wasn't trying to impress. She was just listening. It made his chest ache. At one point, Noah hopped out to use the restroom. The space he left behind felt enormous. "I'm not asking for anything," Lena said quietly. Evan met her eyes for the first time since the hospital. "Then why are you here?" She took a breath. "Because running didn't fix anything. And I can't pretend you don't exist. Or that he doesn't." Evan looked down at the table, at the scratches carved into the surface by years of strangers. "You don't get to step in and out," he said. "I know," she replied. "That's why I'm staying. If you'll let me." The honesty scared him, more than anger ever had. Noah returned, cheerful as ever. "Can she come again?" he asked suddenly, mouth full of fries. Evan blinked. "Come again where?" "Anywhere," Noah said. "She's nice." Lena's eyes filled, fast and unexpected. Evan felt something crack. "We'll see," he said gently. Noah shrugged. "Okay." They walked to the cars after dinner. The air was cool. A flag fluttered on a nearby building. America. Ordinary. Unforgiving. "Thank you," Lena said. "For today." Evan nodded. This doesn't change things. I know, she said. But maybe it starts something. He didn't answer. She didn't push. That night, Evan lay awake in bed, staring at the ceiling, the hospital lights, the diner booth, Noah's small hand in hers. He told himself it meant nothing, but his heart didn't listen. Across town, Lena sat on her bed, shoes still on. She replayed the day again and again. For the first time in 7 years, she hadn't run. And for the first time, she wasn't sure she wanted to. They'd been forced into the same space, bound by a child and a past they couldn't erase. And now that the door was cracked open, the truth waiting behind it threatened to change everything. It started with a text. Noah has a follow-up appointment Friday. You don't have to come. Evan stared at the message for a long time before replying. I'll be there. 3 words. Simple. Heavy. The waiting room smelled like disinfectant and burnt coffee. A TV mounted high on the wall played a daytime talk show no one watched. Noah sat between them again, flipping through a comic book. This time, the silence felt different, less guarded, more dangerous. When the nurse called Noah's name, Evan stood. Lena did too, then stopped. I can wait, she said. Evan hesitated. Then, you should come. Her eyes lifted, surprised. Okay. The appointment was quick. Noah was fine, healing well, no concerns. Relief settled in the room like a warm blanket. Outside, the 3 of them stood awkwardly near the exit. Noah tugged Evan's sleeve. Can I go to the bookstore next door? Just for a minute. Evan looked at Lena, then back at Noah. Stay where I can see you. Noah grinned and took off. And just like that, they were alone. I want to explain, Lena said quietly. Evan leaned against the wall, arms crossed. I don't know if I want to hear it. That's fair, she replied. But I need to say it. He nodded once. She took a breath. I didn't leave because I didn't love you, she said. I left because I didn't think I deserved to stay. Evan scoffed before he could stop himself. You didn't think I deserved to stay? Her shoulders flinched. I was drowning, she said. My mom was sick. My job was gone. And then the baby came early. Everything felt out of control. So you took control by disappearing, Evan said. Yes, she admitted. And it was the worst decision of my life. The words hung there, real, unpolished. Evan looked away. Flashbacks came without warning. The hospital room, the empty chair, the nurse asking if there was anyone else to call. He swallowed hard. I begged you to stay, he said quietly. You didn't even look back. Tears slipped down Lena's face. She didn't wipe them away. If I had looked back, she said, I don't think I would have survived leaving. That wasn't an excuse. It was a confession. They sat down on a nearby bench. For a moment, neither spoke. People walked past. Shoes squeaked on tile. Someone laughed. Life kept moving. I told myself you were better off without me, Lena said. That you'd move on. That he'd have a good life. He did, Evan said. He does. She nodded. Because of you. He didn't respond. Noah returned, holding a paperback book and a receipt. Can we go now? He asked. Yeah, Evan said. We're done. As they walked out, Lena lagged behind slightly. At the door, Evan paused. I'm not forgiving you today, he said. Maybe not tomorrow either. She met his eyes. I'm not asking for that. Good. That night, Evan sat at the kitchen table long after Noah went to bed. The house felt too quiet. He thought about the years he'd spent angry, tired, proud of surviving alone. He thought about Lena's words. I didn't think I deserved to stay. It unsettled him more than any apology could have. If you've ever listened to someone finally tell the truth they've been running from, you know how it changes the air in the room. Some stories don't ask for judgment. They ask to be witnessed. And if you believe moments like that matter, if you believe some truths deserve to be heard all the way through, stay with this story. Because what comes next will test everything they've just opened. A week passed. Then another. Lena didn't push. She showed up when Evan invited her. She stayed away when he didn't. Noah adjusted easily. Too easily. One afternoon, He asked Evan, "Is she my mom?" The question knocked the air out of him. "Yes," Evan said. Noah thought about it. Okay, that was all. Kids were resilient. Adults were not. The unraveling came on a quiet Sunday. Rain tapped against the windows. The smell of tomato soup filled the kitchen. Lena stood at the counter, chopping carrots. Evan watched her from the table. "You don't have to help," he said. "I want to," she replied. He nodded. The rain grew heavier. "I'm scared," she said suddenly. "Of what?" "Of messing this up," she admitted. "Of hurting him again. Of hurting you." Evan leaned back in his chair. "You already did." "I know," she said. "And I live with that every day." She set the knife down. "I don't expect a second chance," she continued. "But I'm asking for the chance to be honest. All the way." He studied her face. "Then start," he said. Her voice shook. "I left because I thought I was broken," she said. "And because I didn't want him to grow up watching me fall apart." Silence filled the kitchen. Evan stood slowly. "You don't get to decide what he can handle," he said. "You took that from him. From me." Tears streamed down her face. "I know." He looked at the rain-streaked window. "I learned how to be strong because I had no choice," he said. "But I shouldn't have had to." She nodded again. "I'm sorry." Not dramatic. Not loud. Just true. They stood there, both exposed. No defenses left. Evan finally spoke. "I don't know what this becomes," he said. "But I know pretending nothing happened isn't an option anymore." She exhaled, shaky but relieved. "Thank you." He didn't say you're welcome. That night, Lena drove home in the rain, hands tight on the wheel. For the first time, she wasn't running from the past. She was facing it, and it terrified her. The truth was finally out, raw and unfinished. But honesty has consequences, and the next choice would either bring them closer than ever, or tear open wounds that could end everything. The call came on a Thursday afternoon. Evan was in the pickup line outside Noah's school, inching forward with a line of SUVs and sedans under a gray sky. His phone buzzed in the cup holder. "Lena." He stared at the screen longer than he should have. Finally, he answered. "What's wrong?" There was a pause. Just long enough. "I got an offer," she said. "A job. In Denver." His chest tightened. "When?" "They want me there in 2 weeks." The car ahead moved. Evan didn't. "Horn," Noah said from the back seat. Evan rolled forward, parked, and shut off the engine. "And Noah?" Evan asked quietly. Another pause. "I don't know," Lena said. "That's why I'm calling." They met that night at a small park near Evan's house. The kind with a cracked basketball court and a playground that had seen better days. The air was cold. A wind rattled dry leaves across the pavement. Noah played on the swings, bundled up, unaware. Evan and Lena stood near the fence. "You didn't waste any time," Evan said. "That's not fair," she replied. "I didn't go looking for this." "But you're considering it," he said. "Yes," she said. "Because it's stable. Because it's a fresh start." "For who?" Evan asked. She looked toward Noah. "For all of us." Evan let out a short laugh. Not amused. "You don't get to talk like that," he said. "You don't get to make plans like you didn't miss 7 years. Her face tightened. "I know I don't get to rewrite the past." "Then don't try to rewrite the future," he shot back. The wind cut between them. They sat on opposite ends of a bench while Noah played. For a long time, neither spoke. Finally, Lena said, "I'm trying to do this right." Evan rubbed his hands together for warmth. Right would have been staying. She flinched. "I can't undo that," she said. "But I can show up now." "By leaving again?" Her voice rose, just a little. "By choosing something that lets me be present. Not scrambling. Not falling apart." Evan stood. "You think I didn't scramble?" he said. "You think I didn't fall apart?" She stood too. "I know you did." "Then why does it sound like you're saying I wasn't enough?" he asked. Her eyes filled. "I'm not saying that. But that's what it feels like," he said. "Like you still think you know better." Noah ran over, cheeks red from the cold. "Dad," he said, "can we go? I'm tired." "Yeah," Evan said, forcing calm into his voice. "Grab your backpack." Noah glanced between them. "You mad?" "No," Evan said quickly. "Just talking." Noah nodded, unconvinced, and went to get his things. Lena watched him go. "I don't want to hurt him," she said. Evan's voice dropped. "Then don't make him choose." She swallowed. "I would never." "But you are," he said, "whether you mean to or not." The drive home was quiet. Noah fell asleep in the back seat. Evan stared at the road, streetlights blurring past. At a stop sign, Lena spoke softly. "If I stay," she said, "I'm scared I'll fail again." "If you leave," Evan replied, "you already have." The words hung between them, heavy, final. They pulled into Evan's driveway. The porch light flicked on automatically. Home. Safe. Fragile. Evan unbuckled Noah and carried him inside. Lena followed, silent. In Noah's room, Evan tucked him in. "Night, buddy," he whispered. Noah stirred. "She coming tomorrow?" Evan froze for half a second. "We'll see." Noah nodded and drifted off. Back in the living room, Lena stood near the door. "I think I should go," she said. Evan crossed his arms. "Probably." She hesitated. "I don't want this to end like last time." He met her eyes. "Then don't leave." Tears spilled over. "I don't know how to stay without losing myself." "That's not something I can fix for you," he said. Silence filled the room. Finally, she nodded. "I guess that's my answer." She reached for the door. Evan didn't stop her. The days that followed were empty. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just hollow. Lena took the job. She texted Evan once to tell him, "I'll give you space. I hope someday you'll understand." He didn't reply. Noah noticed. Kids always do. "Is she gone?" he asked one night. Evan swallowed. "Yeah. Forever." "I don't know," Evan said honestly. Noah nodded, quiet. That night, Evan sat alone on the couch, lights off, listening to the house settle. He thought about all the things he hadn't said, all the things he'd protected himself from feeling. Sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes fear wins. And sometimes walking away feels safer than staying to fight. Across state lines, Lena stared out of a motel window at passing headlights. She told herself she was doing the right thing, but her chest ached like she'd left something vital behind. For the second time in her life, they'd reached the point where love and fear collided, and fear had won. But distance has a way of sharpening truth, and soon, both of them would have to face what they'd lost, and whether it was already too late to fight for it. Winter came early that year, not with snow at first but with silence, the kind that settles into corners and stays. Evan noticed it in the mornings. The house felt bigger after Lena left town. Noah still rushed through breakfast, still forgot his jacket, still talked about school like nothing had changed. But there were gaps now, small pauses where her name used to land. Evan filled those gaps with routine. He packed lunches. He showed up early to work. He folded laundry the same night he washed it. He kept moving because standing still felt dangerous. Some nights, after Noah fell asleep, Evan sat at the kitchen table with his laptop open, not working, just staring. His phone nearby, always nearby, never buzzed. One Friday evening, Evan drove without music. That alone should have told him something was off. He found himself pulling into a grocery store parking lot he didn't usually go to, a small one near the old hospital. The lights flickered above the carts. The air smelled like wet asphalt and cold metal. Inside, he grabbed things he didn't need. Soup, bread, milk they already had. At the checkout, the cashier asked, "You good?" He nodded. "Yeah." The word felt thin. As he walked back to his truck, his phone vibrated. A text. "Lena, can we talk?" He stared at the screen. His thumb hovered. 1,000 answers rose up. None of them felt right. Finally, he typed, "About what?" The dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. About everything, she wrote. They talked the next night. Not in person. On the phone. Evan sat on the back steps, bundled in a jacket, breath fogging the air. Lena's voice came through thin but steady. "I'm not calling to argue," she said. I've been thinking." "So have I," Evan replied. A pause. "I made a mistake," she said. He closed his eyes. "You've said that before." "I know," she said quietly. "This time feels different." He didn't respond. She kept going. "I thought distance would give me clarity, that I'd feel lighter. Instead, everything feels heavier." "Denver didn't fix it?" he asked. "No," she said. "It showed me what I was running from." "And what's that?" he asked. "Him," she said. "You. Us." Evan leaned his head back against the siding. "Lena," he said, "I can't keep doing this. I can't keep reopening the door just to watch you walk out again." "I'm not asking you to," she said. "I'm asking you to let me try to come back." The words hit him harder than he expected. "Come back how?" he asked. "Slowly," she said, "carefully, with no promises." He laughed once. Short, sharp. "That's not very comforting." "I know," she said, "but it's honest." Silence stretched between them. Evan stared at the dark yard. "I don't know if Noah can take another goodbye," he said. "I wouldn't ask him to," she replied. "I'd ask him to let me earn my place." After they hung up, Evan didn't go inside right away. He sat there, listening to a distant train horn, thinking about what forgiveness actually cost. It wasn't a feeling. It was a risk. Lena came back to town a week later. Not to move in. Not to stay. Just to visit. She rented a car. Stayed at a motel near the interstate. She didn't tell Noah she was coming. She told Evan first. "I don't want to confuse him," she said. "Good," Evan replied. They met at a coffee shop near Main Street, the kind with mismatched chairs and a chalkboard menu. When Evan walked in, Lena stood. They looked at each other like strangers who shared too much history. "You look tired," he said. She smiled faintly. "So do you." They sat, hands wrapped around warm mugs. Neither touched the other. "I'm not here to make demands," Lena said. "I'm here to listen." "That's new," Evan said, not unkindly. "I know," she said. "I've had time." He nodded. "Time changes things." "It changes you," she corrected. They talked for hours. About Denver. About Noah. About the years in between. Lena didn't defend herself. Not once. She didn't explain away the past. She just owned it. "I left because I was scared," she said. "Not because I didn't love him. Or you." Evan looked at his coffee. "Fear still left us with the consequences." "I know," she said. "I live with that." For the first time, he believed her. That night, Evan lay awake, not replaying the worst moments, but the small ones. Noah learning to ride a bike. Evan cheering alone. Birthday candles blown out with one parent missing. Doctor visits where Evan signed every form. He'd built a life without her. Strong, steady, but not untouched. He wondered if letting her back in would undo everything he'd protected, or finally heal what he never had time to face. The next day, Evan took Noah to the park. Same one from weeks ago. Cold air. Empty swings. Noah kicked at gravel. "You okay, Dad?" Evan crouched. "Can I ask you something?" Noah nodded. "If someone makes a mistake," Evan said slowly, "do you think they can fix it?" Noah thought. "Depends." "On what?" "If they're sorry," he said. "And if they keep being sorry." Evan swallowed. Later that evening, Evan drove alone. No destination, just roads. He passed the hospital. The lights glowed against the dark. Automatic doors sliding open for strangers. 7 years ago, that place had held the worst moment of his life, and the beginning of everything that followed. He pulled into the parking lot, sat there, hands on the wheel, breathing. For the first time, he let himself feel it all. The anger, the grief, the love that never really left. Across town, Lena sat on the edge of a motel bed, staring at her phone. She didn't text him, didn't call. She'd said she would listen. Now she had to wait. She thought about the night she left the hospital. How she convinced herself it was the only option. How she told herself Evan would be better without her. She knew now that belief had been a lie. One she told to survive. 3 days passed. Then Evan called. "Come over," he said. "We need to talk." Her heart raced. "Tonight?" "Yes," he said. "After Noah goes to bed." She arrived just after 9. Same porch light. Same door. Different air. They sat at the kitchen table. No coffee this time. Just truth. "I can't promise anything," Evan said. "But I can't ignore what this is doing to me either." She nodded. "I'm not asking for guarantees. I need to see consistency," he said. "Not words." "You will," she replied. "Even if it takes years." He studied her face. Not the woman who left, but the one who came back knowing the cost. When she left, Evan stood in the doorway long after her car pulled away. He didn't feel relief. He felt resolve. Whatever happened next wouldn't be easy, but it would be honest. They were standing on the edge of something fragile. Hope built from regret and courage built from loss. The next step would demand more than words. It would demand a choice that could finally bring them together, or break them for good. Spring didn't arrive all at once. Came in pieces. Longer evenings. Softer air. The smell of cut grass drifting through open windows. Evan noticed it the morning Noah asked to walk to school instead of getting a ride. "Why?" Evan asked, tying his shoes. "No reason," Noah said. "Just feels nice out." Evan smiled. "Yeah, it does." They walked past houses with flags still out from last summer. Past a gas station where the price sign blinked unevenly. Past the corner where Evan used to wait for the bus as a kid. Life moving forward. Quietly. Lena wasn't there yet, but she was closer than she'd been in 7 years. She started with small things. Saturday mornings at the park. Sitting on a bench, not pushing too hard. Letting Noah come to her. Some days he did. Some days he didn't. She never complained. She showed up anyway. Evan watched it all from a distance. Not hovering. Not disappearing. Just present. He saw how she listened. How she didn't rush moments. How she accepted silence without trying to fill it. That mattered. One afternoon, Noah scraped his knee on the basketball court. Blood. Tears. The whole thing. Evan was already moving when Lena knelt first. "It's okay," she said softly. "I've got you." Noah hesitated, then leaned into her. Evan felt something in his chest loosen. Just a little. Weeks passed. Trust didn't rush back. It walked. Slow. Careful. Evan and Lena talked more. Sometimes about Noah. Sometimes about nothing important. Weather. Work. Old shows they used to watch. They avoided the big words. For now. One evening, they sat on the porch steps while Noah played inside. "I'm not trying to erase what happened," Lena said. "I know I can't." "I don't need erasing," Evan replied. "I need honesty." She nodded. "You have it." They sat there as the sun dropped behind the trees. Comfortable. Unfinished. The real test came unexpectedly. A call from the school. Noah had a fever. Needed to be picked up. Evan was stuck in traffic. Lena was closer. "Can you go?" Evan asked over the phone. A pause. "Yes," she said. "If you're okay with that." "I am," he said, and realized he meant it. When Evan arrived, Noah was already wrapped in a borrowed sweatshirt, asleep against Lena's shoulder. The nurse smiled. "Looks like he's in good hands." Evan swallowed. "Yeah." He drove them home. No music. Just the sound of breathing in the back seat. That night, after Noah was settled, Evan stood in the kitchen. Lena hovered near the counter. "I know this doesn't fix everything," she said. "No," Evan replied. "But it's a start." She nodded. "I'll take that." He hesitated, then said, "You don't have to go back to the motel tonight." She froze. "I'm not saying move in," he added quickly. "Just stay. Guest room." Her eyes filled. "Only if you're sure." "I'm not sure," he said honestly. "But I want to try." She exhaled. Slow. Careful. "Okay." The guest room light stayed on late. But not all night. Evan lay awake longer than he had in months. Not from fear. From possibility. Life didn't magically smooth out. There were awkward mornings. Quiet dinners. Moments when the past crept in through an open door. But there were also shared laughter. Small victories. Nights when Noah fell asleep on the couch between them. One Sunday they went to the hospital together. Not inside. Just the parking lot. Evan stood by his truck. Lena beside him. "I never said goodbye to this place," she said. "You don't have to," Evan replied. She nodded. "Thank you for bringing me." He looked at the building, then at her. "Thank you for coming back," he said. Summer returned. With it, fireworks, cookouts, noise and light. They watched the 4th of July show from a blanket in the park. Noah sprawled between them, pointing at the sky. "That one looked like a dinosaur," he said. Lena laughed. "I see it." Evan felt her hand brush his. This time, neither pulled away. Later that night, after Noah slept, Evan and Lena stood in the backyard. Firework smoke still hung in the air. "I don't know what this is yet," Evan said. "But I know what it's not." "What's that?" she asked. "It's not pretending," he said. "And it's not fear running the show." She smiled through tears. "I can live with that." He took a breath. "I don't need you." Her face fell for a split second. Then he continued. "I choose you." She laughed softly. "That's better." They didn't rush the kiss. They let it arrive. Months later, on a random Tuesday, Noah brought home a drawing. 3 stick figures. One tall, one slightly shorter, one small, all holding hands. "Who's this?" Evan asked. Noah shrugged. "Us." Lena covered her mouth. Evan taped it to the fridge. They never talked about the 7 years as something to undo. They talked about it as something that shaped them, made them careful, made them grateful. One night, Evan sat alone on the porch while Lena tucked Noah in. He thought about the hospital, the loneliness, the nights he wondered if he'd survive. He had, not because of money, or strength, or pride, but because love didn't leave him. It waited, sometimes quietly, sometimes painfully, but it waited. Lena joined him outside. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah," he said. "Just thinking." She leaned against him. They didn't need more words. Their story didn't end with fireworks or perfect answers. It ended with choice, with patience, with love rebuilt piece by piece. And somewhere ahead, beyond this quiet moment, was a future still unfolding, waiting for the next brave step forward. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as you can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.